touche. Le secret de la composition réside dans le désordre. I beg your pardon. I said the key to composition is chaos. My mother used to say the key to happiness was keeping your bowels moving. Chaos and composition are inseparable. Eros was a composer. The gods made him blind so he could hear. There are many kinds of blindness. Nosing the air for love like a spaniel is one kind. But fumbling around in the dark for melodies, it's the dimmest sight. It's humiliating. It's like a mole among men. I don't like it here. This age of yours is a despair, a reckoning centuries in the making. We deserve it. We mistook God for a baker. We thought the bread of life was his job instead of his pleasure. I tried to be clever, but I am no poet. Diatribe is not revelation. This is an age of consonants, an era of chatter. I don't belong, and you don't need me. I will listen. But if I cannot hear you, at least I will have scandalized my peers and paraded a singular wardrobe. Je ris de me voir si belle, Marguerite. Ce n'est plus toi, ce n'est plus ton visage. Oh, c'est la fille de roi qu'on salue au passage. I love singers. I have a beautiful voice. And I always wanted to sing like a woman. The feeling of high notes suspended overhead must be intoxicating. Is there a chanteuse in the house? Tell me, how to describe crossing the barrier between soul and sound? I long to spend 1 second inside a female voice. The vulgarity of everyday nattering is abolished when a woman sings. I love women. Forgive me again. This is about you. One does not summon the dead to hear them speak. You You summon the dead to catch a glimpse of the devil. He is very real. He is a critic. I'm not being clever. The devil is a critic of life, therefore he rewrites it to suit his pleasure. While God is baking, the devil is writing history books. I never feared God because I knew God too well. Sarah introduced us. God is a trickster, and he loves cripples. Well, God adored Marcel and Sarah, and the more they disfigured themselves, the more he showered them with genius. Sarah told me that God lived in her body and I should pay attention to him on a regular basis. I searched tenaciously for God on several occasions. One particular evening, I was fatigued and asked Sarah for a map of the terrain I should be looking for. She pointed to a set of leather straps she used to support that cursed knee. The evening proceeded in a very curious fashion, and the encounter left us both exhausted and quite famous in our circle of friends. The following night, we were asked to repeat the moment sacré at a salon. I declined. Sarah went on without me, quite successfully. It was a blow on many fields of battle. I worshipped Marcel Proust. And it is dangerous to worship a false god. Historians are winning, you know. They are making a deliberate attempt to separate sex from history. This is what drove Marcel mad and put him staring at stones demanding secrets. He went to nature because of academics, and then he sulked when nature did not respond in prose. One day he came home wielding a historical text above his head like Moses. I heard him shouting all the way down the boulevard, but I found this behavior embarrassing. But Sarah consumed it like dulce creme. He was cursing all of Germany, shouting that Lessing and Hegel had nursed from the teat of Medusa. I had all I could do to keep him from breaking every chair in the entry hall. Sarah was shouting, "Bravo, mon chéri, bravo, bravo," and dancing a vicious tarantella, accompanying herself on a Jew's harp. Madness. I am apolitical and obviously ahistorical. And I do not care what a population thinks. I care how they behave in public and what they compose. And perhaps what they wear. To me, Schubert cancels out the entire Habsburg family. And Mozart? Mozart cancels out every mistake made since the fall of Adam. brings clarity. Albeit too late, of course. To continue, Marcel enters the parlor stinking of absinthe, an abhorrible drink, and begins tearing pages out of the text, spitting on them, and flinging them into the fire. Always more interested in pain than in pleasure, Sarah hurls herself into the embers. Oh, we were dangerous to each other then. I leapt on top of her to quash her burning gown. Marcel leapt on top of me, throttling my head with the tattered text. That was not the first time Bedlam lost its appeal. I would not be beaten by a rider, literally or figuratively. I was so angry. He had such promise and was wasting himself on politics. He was a god destined for ascension. Instead, he became a human being longing for death. He and Sarah belonged together. She slept in a coffin, and he carried one on his back like a demented turtle. I extricated myself from the hearth and the violence and announced I was leaving them both. Oh, Marcel howled like a beast, Sarah collapsed onto the chaise sobbing, and I went to the pantry for cheese. In spite of its predictability, it is very famous. I once heard a child sing this melody while staring in a stagnant pool of water. Oh, God, and I use the term referentially, often sent me such images to ponder. After pondering, I wrote my own fete galante. You be the judge. I only inferred difference. Although my mentor and one of the most brilliant composers of the modern era, Fauré was an ass. Well, I have no guilt about saying that. A composer's insides are very rarely their outsides. I am, of course, the exception. You can see my music on my frame. Elegant, with just a touch of mystery and romance. Fauré et moi. I think that is quite an improvement. You see, I am capable of complicity, but I prefer other bridges across the Rubicon. I do not intend to be opaque. I intend to be ethereal. And the inherent quality of ether is nothing if not vague. I am a sensualist. I am not whatever Sarah and Marcel were. I am also a musician, and music is disciplined. I joined the military for one purpose only, to learn discipline of the body. I did not fight for France, I am not French, and I did not intend tramping back to Venezuela to learn anything from the natives. Too loose a culture, yet predictable. I was never one of those people. Beautiful though they are unintelligible to me. I hear the French, and even French historians work to separate sensuality from the fable. Good God, Richelieu managed to suck the sex right out of the Renaissance. And his parasites at the French Academy continue the mission today. Please derail this locomotive. It is driven by Philistines and fueled by dilettantes. Oh, believe me, I taught enough of them. Large, toady girls and stupid, dismal boys. La, la, la. A constant barrage of meaningless, ill-conceived notes. I blame the British. I do not look at what governments do to policy. I look at what governments do to music. Handel became Britain's articulation of passion because Queen Victoria redefined sex. Once she regulated sensuality, Baroque ornamentation became a scored constant. The Queen was not attractive. Perhaps a lack of sex led to her deep concern with genitalia and major triads. Napoleon taught more than military precision. Believe me, he gave music lessons. Marchons, marchons, qu'un empire. That is why I went into the military. I had to feel what I was fighting. Music is in the body. And when sex becomes a duty, music dims. The Greeks knew sex. An Odeon in every town, a dithyramb at every celebration, 26 notes, 4 scales, 15 modes to choose from, and meters of composition in a state of constant creation and development. This was sex with the gods! I am not blind to the foibles of the society, and pederasty must have been exhausting. But I can hear them still in the Catholic Church, in the cabarets, in the streets. Oh, how we pale next to antiquity. The Greeks sang between the notes. I know singers who do that unintentionally. The Greeks did it as a practice, terrifying. The gods lived in the cracks and crevices of the notes. Sarah was Greek. She lived in the cracks and crevices of performance. She displayed incomparable emotions, new ones no one had ever seen before in life, much less on a stage. She terrified everyone around her. She flung herself out of a front window when she was 10 just to get the attention of a passing carriage. Thus the knee, and thus the leg. Her whore of a mother was in the carriage. La pauvre petite. She was Dionysus, and audiences were naiads sent to tear her apart. She was fated for dismemberment, and her leg symbolized ascension. She had a funeral for the amputated limb. I did not attend. And just for the historians, Sarah's coffin was quite comfortable. It had wheels rather like an adult perambulator. I enjoyed it tremendously. I talk about Sarah, but I think about Marcel. There is a longing that survives all things, all crossings. I confess, I do not know if this is hell or heaven. But I look very good, and that is something I earned. But perhaps this is all some ethereal earpull from Lucifer, because I can do nothing but admire myself and talk to you. Excusez-moi, je suis très fatigué. I was indeed lucky to know them. I had little public appeal in the beginning and no interest in cultivating it. I became a sensation by association. What a time. when youth could attach itself to passion instead of guilt, and when the salon defined culture. Everything happened in the present, with no fear of the past, no desire for the future. You needed money to attend properly. But youth and beauty were accepted currency as long as the talent was worthy. Our presenters demanded public sacrifice, and we gladly gave our sanity in exchange for adulation and fresh Namibian shrimp. I escaped. But Marcel and Sarah did not see the walls of Callipolis go up around them. I'm afraid you come to me for answers I do not have. I only have experience, and that is personal. Perhaps I summoned you. Well, I would much prefer to spend this time divining your every hiccup than stumbling toward infinity. But perhaps you are my next orchestra. Marvelous. Let us attempt the first exercise I gave new players at the Paris Opéra. Let us breathe together. Sit up. Chests out. Please breathe on 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah! Well, let me see if I can make this easier. 1, 2, 3. No. My mother would like that. No. Any Germans? Well, so be it. Yes. Let us inhale on 3, exhale on 1. 2, inhale and exhale, and oh, God be with me. We shall succeed at this. I am relentless. Conducting is like dragging a great line of train cars down a gravel path, and every downbeat sounds like pebbles tossed against a window, unless all the players submit. We shall rehearse one section at a time. You are the string section. I must allow extra time for the strings because they are all frustrated soloists, the violas especially. You are the woodwinds. Oh, the woodwinds are less problematic because no solo market creates less section angst. And you are the horn and percussion section. I save you to last because once the goddamned horns and percussion start playing, all is lost anyway. Strings, sit up. Chests out. Chests out. Out. Here we go. 1, 2, inhale, and you see, it is not so hard to follow a conductor, is it? Just do whatever I say when I say to do it, and don't think about anything else. All right, woodwinds, here we are, here we are. Chests out, and sit up, up. Monsieur, I need you more erect. Better already. 1, 2, inhale, exhale, in. Much improved. Horns and percussion. Why bother? All together. Oh. I am very proud. I shall not haunt you. Oh, I loved an orchestra, but I lived for the salon. I was ruined at a very early age, 13 to be precise. I was invited to play the piano and sing at the Salon of Princess Henriette in Paris, a great honor. In her magnificent home, I experienced everything I wanted in life. Beautiful people, exquisite art, and fresh seafood. A personal passion that endured. I played everything I knew that afternoon, and I sang like an angel. Was the first melody I wrote. Quite complex for a child, I think. When I hear it, I marvel at its clarity. I would not change a thing. That melody came quite out of the air, like a child's conversation with nature. I cannot... I remember the melody emerging from a conversation with my mother. She was talking about Venezuela, longing for a thing I did not understand at that time. And I heard the melody while she was speaking to me. It is a strange thing to hear music. I was at first frightened by it because I did not know the language. But that day in the arms of my mother, I heard myself. And that day in the home of Princess Henriette, for good or for ill, I saw what lay ahead. Experience taught me the true nature of the salon, and the self-same experience offered in the end escape. Only after leaving did I understand. The elite salon was like an exhibition hall where the great collected artists fed and clothed them and presented them for friends and family. The artistic salon was where artists met to practice forgiveness. Artists must learn forgiveness because the infractions made by the public are so grievous that if we do not forgive them, we tear each other to pieces. When you collect artistic animals, there is always a risk. Perhaps the hand of the master will be bitten, or perhaps the animals will kill each other out of desperation. Sarah's great offering at our salon were the imitations of our patrons. I am not an actor, so I cannot share with you in any complexity the genius of her therapeutic mimesis. But to see La Grande Sarah dressed as a specific Prussian duke who was famous for practicing Roman pleasures with young poets, to see her enter a room full of artists and work her alchemy, I was never more amazed at her. Every detail of the Duke, down to his amorphous shape, his bad teeth that gave way to bad diction, his display of gender. What she lacked in costume, she made up for in her body. This was her landscape of performance. She was not a declamatory beast. She was another creature entirely, made up of spurting blood and exposed bones. Extraordinary. I confess I have a mimesis of my own. I never showed it to anyone. I practiced it late in the evening after each salon. My mimesis is of Sarah Bernhardt. Since you do not know her, and since she is quite dead, I fear nothing. Great God, I cannot believe I am doing this. Well, as I said before, I am not an actor. I do not understand performance without music. To me, words are thick and unwieldy without measure, time, and melody. Why go to the theater when you could be at the opera? If La Grande Sarah had been a singer, I might have exploded from joy. She could not sing, and it was one of her great pleasures to torment me with my own melodies. But she would hurl great clods of notes at me during dinner, during intervals on the street. I have no idea when she found the time to learn my music. I am not unappreciative of her devotion to me, but I am sensitive about how my music is delivered. I practiced forgiveness on Sarah Bernhardt. If I had not, I would have died on the guillotine for her murder. Mes chers amis, je suis réconforté par votre visite ce soir. Je suis mélancolique depuis plusieurs jours et je souffre d'une espèce de délire réservé aux artistes qui adorent. J'ai passé ma vie à en revivre le passé, une période que je ne peux même pas recréer puisqu'elle n'a jamais vraiment existé. Oh, my longing is for love. But to me, love is defined by sacrifice. I sacrifice myself for you in unending ways, always for you. I open my heart so that you may see that I love. When I die, bury me at the northern face of Montmartre. Only there did I discover something more powerful than my desire. I discovered God who gave me desire. Oh, desire is God's wedge and his mallet. And through desire, he shapes our spiritual body. God is in my body. And as I move ever closer toward him, I shed my skin in reverence. Au revoir. Je vous aime toujours et à travers le regard de Dieu. Who could have resisted? She was holy and human. I miss her terribly. And this place is not worthy of her. I do not have a mimesis of Marcel. Actually, I do. Marcel! Marcel! There. The absence is my mimesis of Marcel Proust. greatest fear is that I never found a melody to evoke, oh, what is the word? Language is agony. To express. A few feet from the murmuring sea, I know a hidden spot in Brittany where I would love to take you in autumn, my darling. Oaks form a circle around a fountain, some scattered hedges, a deserted mill. A spring with green reflections like the pools of your eyes. Mornings, a bird would come to sing for us under the yellow leaves, and the sea, night and day, would accompany our caresses of love with its infinite calm. Not my words, of course. Never my words, in life or in death. To love a poet without speaking his language is to be a foreigner, an alien species. I mourn his death every day, and I will hate him into eternity for it. Well, I believe that I have ruined your evening. I apologize. I have apologized for many things in my life, but never my existence as an artist. I have offended, I have enraged, I have been attacked at great length, I have been ignored. I was almost beaten to death. Well, not to death, but it was quite painful. A young tough attacked me outside a cafe in Provence. I never understood his vehemence, but somewhere inside a barrage of punches and insinuations, he accused me of being a revolutionary without a revolution. He said I was a coward and a thief and I should not be allowed to influence a society. He then beat me about the head and shoulders and left me in a gutter. It was frightening. But most of all, it was confusing. I had seen violence like that in the military, violence that is unattached to reason or duty. The terror of war breeds a terror of humanity. And when humanity becomes the enemy, music turns sinister. Stravinsky wrote Blood in the Streets, massacre upon massacre pouring from the score. I cannot turn pain into music. That is not the function of melody. The transcendence of pain is the true goal. And transcendence requires a specific commitment to unimpeded vision. I see with my ears, and I can afford to be neither sympathetic nor compassionate. In seeking truth, reality must be pushed aside. In seeking music, history must be destroyed. Music is essential. Music is a rope in which to snare humanity, tie it down, and suffer it to come home. I have witnessed a moment when a singer, in some miracle of selfless wonder, was able to divine not the composer's intent, but the intent of the melody. Time, note, meter, all things collapsed into one, and God's face appeared for an instant. I have also been at a butcher shop when a thick-veined baritone hacked God to pieces. God can be wounded. Just listen to Monteverdi. I have tried very hard not to prick God's skin with my music. No, respect is not belief. Do not confuse the two. I respect God's accomplishments. But who can believe in a worker that remains silent while his monuments topple? It's inexplicable. One day, human beings will gather together and murder God. At least the artists will have some peace and quiet. I have a joke. What's the difference between Handel and Mozart? Music. Oh, I enjoyed that tremendously. I did not intend for this conversation to end with you wanting your evening back. I've been struggling to articulate. I feel that gravity has shifted and begun pitching humans into the void. The catapulting of bodies into space is what I hear now instead of music. Some go willingly. A small, sharp inhalation or low hum. Some don't feel the moorings give way to the bitter end and shriek in wild surprise as they go. But the sound that haunts me is the sound that is not there. If this is hell, then hell is defined by absence. The absence of Marcel, which in the end is the absence of music. I loved, and for that I am forgiven all things. But I have not yet learned to forgive. I still wish, you see, and wishing has pinioned me to terra firma. The earth has become my mother, and I hope at least that I amuse her. Sarah taught me well. A pity that Erda does not require foot rubs.